out at Selma, Pioneer Park, back to film Head Over Heels, but also Gilbert got the MagSafe battery pack, and it's cool. I thought it was glossy. It's matte. I thought it was gonna be glossy like a 2007 MacBook, but I was wrong.
Two hours later.
Just got home from Selma, unloaded the car, and now I'm backing up all the data from the production. The production went really well. I didn't record as much behind the scenes as I'd hoped. I wanted to show off what we were doing and how we were doing it, but I was busy doing it. And then afterward, when we were packing up, so many people came by to say hi. You know, people we hadn't seen in a year and a half working on productions and shows. But yeah, I'm back home, got a ton of data to back up. We did redundant recording on the Sony Alpha 1, A7S III, internally and on the Ninja. Also got all the audio from the Zoom F6 that was plugged into the mixing board, had a shotgun mic pointed at the stage, and then I also tried out Gilbert's Mavic Mini 2. He's letting me borrow it, and so I'm going to play with it some more before I share my thoughts on it, but I'm really excited to try out this little tiny drone. Yeah, I'm going to be editing this weekend, so maybe a part 2, or maybe just later in this edit, I'll go over how I set up and edit musical theater projects. I'm really tired, and I need a shower, so let's jump to tomorrow. Okay, welcome back. It's Saturday. I got other things I need to edit first, but I figured while we're on this editing theater thing, I'll show you how I set up my timeline to edit these shows, these theater projects that were recorded, committed to files. So I have all my media here. Like I said earlier, we recorded with the Alpha 1, the A7S III. We recorded internally and with the Ninja, and it's always good to do redundancy because we did find a couple of times. At one point, I needed to change the battery on my Ninja because I forgot to change it at intermission, and we ran out of card space on the Alpha 1 internal recording, so it was good to always have those backups. So I'm going to sync all of this with the audio, but I'm going to edit this in Final Cut, and I'm going to use Pluralize to help me with the sync because I have so many files. Final Cut does have some basic sync functionality built in, and it might actually do this okay, but I'm going to probably end up using Pluralize. We could try the internal Final Cut one and see how it does, but with this many files, I don't have my hopes up very high. So let's launch Final Cut first and start our library. That's kind of where I like to start. Launching Final Cut, I'm holding the Option key so I can just start a brand new library right off the gate, not start with something else already loaded. So I'm gonna make a new thing here. Selma Art Center, Head Over Heels. And this was yesterday, and let's import that media. I'm just gonna bring all of this in, and I'm gonna make sure to leave files in place, and I'm also going to make keywords from the Finder folders because I divvied everything up by camera, but I also want to assign it in Final Cut so that it could possibly help with the synchronization here. And I'm not going to use Final Cut's multicam because of the way I want to edit the audio. I kind of want to do some blending in here. And if the audio was like already perfect, multicam would be great, but it's not. I need to do some blending between the recording we got from the house board and from the mics. Editing is definitely faster. The cutting of the camera angles is faster in multicam, but for what I want to do with the audio, multicam just doesn't make sense. With all my media imported, to set it up for Pluralize, I can make a new project, call it Selma Art Center, Head Over Heels clips, and yeah, we filmed in 4K. I'm going to do ProRes Light. Not that I'm going to do a ton of rendering here, but essentially I'm going to put my wide angle camera in the magnetic timeline, stack the other cameras on top of it and the audio beneath it. The reason why I like to build this here rather than in Pluralize, Pluralize makes everything secondary timelines, and I don't like that. So I want all of this to kind of live on its own. Drag these in. Oh, why did those come in below? That's weird. Kind of keep these all together. And then I'm going to take these audio clips and then put them beneath the main thing. And I'm going to export this as an XML and send it over to Pluralize. So I'm going to make a new folder here, call it sync. And I like to use the previous version of the XML. Sometimes Pluralize isn't updated to always take the latest XML. And Final Cut did recently get an update. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna minimize Final Cut. And I'm gonna open Pluralize. Pluralize is a great program from Red Giant. There was a different company that originally made Pluralize, and then Red Giant bought them. But I really, really still love this program. And I'm going to import. So now that it's open, I'm going to go File, Import from Final Cut, locate my XML. And these should load in. Actually, this is the first time I'm using Pluralize with an H.265 file, but it's really just looking at audio. Hopefully this works. This is going to take some time. It needs to prepare. It needs to like read all the audio. So it does take a little bit of time to analyze. I guess while this is going, we can try to see if we can sync through Final Cut's syncing. So I highlight everything except for the DJI clips and secondary click and go synchronize clips. We'll keep all the audio. We'll use audio for synchronization. If we'd use time code, it should be able to do it through the time code as well. You know, I could switch it to time code. But yeah, let's do an audio sync. Always got the in-loop batteries on tap, ready to go. Pluralize is, powering through this, and it looks like it's handling all of the media just fine. I am happy with this. Yeah, Pluralize seems to be tearing through this, which is great. Let's check in on Final Cut sync. Oh, Final Cut crashed. Well then, Final Cut sync couldn't chop it up. But I'm on an Intel Mac, and we're working with H.265 footage, 10-bit 422. This is this is taxing this computer. But yeah, let's just stick with Pluralize. Boom, Pluralize got it all synced up. So I'm going to export the timeline. We're going to save this. I don't know why it always wants to save in the documents folder. That is dumb. I'm going to save it back in my sync folder. Clips synced. And export. So now I can double click on this synced XML, import it into my library here. And here is my timeline. Looking good. Got Act 1 and Act 2. So yeah, at this, there's the point here where the Alpha 1 internal camera battery died, so we switch over to the Ninja. I've got my Ninja. So Gilbert's Ninja, my Ninja, Gilbert's internal media, my Ninja. And here's the little gap where I had to replace the battery. The audio, we let it run for a really long time. So we're probably going to need to trim this up to where the show actually started. Just kind of tidy all of this up. There's just pre-show music there. So don't need any of this. And come Come over here. Here's intermission. So we can, whatever the end of that last clip is, cut that. Come over here where the show is about to start again, right in here. I'm doing Command A, Command B to blade all of that, and then I can just trash this. Yeah, and this is now ready to edit. Like I mentioned, the thing I was talking about, like in terms of audio, I don't really need audio from these clips, so I'm going to turn that all down. What I was talking about was this from the F6. We had 2 tracks. Let me do it to this first one here. We had 2 tracks, and Final Cut sometimes puts the left and right mix down in track 1, track 2, and the actual split is here, but maybe it did get it. Let's listen here. That might be the blend of both. And this should be just the, even though it says track L, track R, which should be the stereo mix down from the tracks, I think these are the individual ones, because look how smashed these quiet sections are. Let's listen to this. This should be the mix from the board. Oh yeah, listen how present. That's very present. And then this should be the shotgun mic in the room, or I guess in the audience. Yeah. So I'm going to turn off the left and right mix down. Basically for all of these. And I just have the house mix and the audience mic. And, now I can open these and expand audio components, and I can mix these, bring them up, bring them down, do all my keyframing here, and get a nice blend between the two. Because, the listening, I record the mix from the board, so we have the vocals nice and present, but I also put a mic in the room to kind of hear what it sounds like for the audience, and to get like audience reaction, clapping, cheering, booing. Not a lot of booing. Yeah, so this is pretty much ready to go. This is how I would edit. And then I would just kind of blade and chop this up, which is slower than the multicam, but I also feel like I can scrub faster. I'll just hold the B key for the blade, I guess scissors now, just to see what I'm looking at and trim that up. And then all of this was S-Log 3, and I made sure to have legalize on the Ninjas. So, if I want all of this to look good, I can grab an adjustment layer. And of course, Final Cut doesn't have adjustment layers in it. You can download the free one from Alex 4D, or if you buy Add Motion tools, you get it for free with that. So I can grab this adjustment layer, throw it across the entire timeline here. Last camera ends there, and I can apply the custom lookup table and apply, there's like a version 2. Yeah, Gerald Undunn's S-Log 3 Cinema S-Gamut Cine to Rec 709. And yeah, there we go. Now our color looks all right. And I'll do exposure adjustments to the individual clip if I need it, if we did over or under. But that looks pretty good right out of the gate. So now I'm ready to edit the video. I'll just chop this up rather than doing the multicam. And my audio is almost ready, but I notice if I bring up my big audio waveforms and I get way in here, my mix right out of the mixer versus the speakers is just slightly out of sync. So if I want to get these into sync, what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse this audio, and I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to hold the Option key and click and drag downward. So now I have 2 of the exact same audio files. And for this top one, I'm going to disable the house mic. And on the bottom one, I'm going to disable the board mix. So now I can get way in here. I can look at where, the sync is just slightly ever so misaligned. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to Let's go to the top of the show. I'm gonna remove the first frame of this one because that one's kind of the later one. And let's get back in here. Fix my adjustment. And I should only need to fix it once. I shouldn't need to adjust this any further. Oh, you know what? I do want to select all of these so I can move this. I shouldn't need to like bump it around because this was all from the same audio recorder. One input was the board, one input was the mic. I shouldn't have any drift other than, you know, just for correcting this little out of syncness. Got all of the bottom audio ones selected. And if I look at this here, I can see how much I'm out of sync. And I should be able to just slip this over, not slip, but actually just drag it over, subframe. You know, I don't need to move it a whole frame over. And we should be much more aligned.
Roommates, you cannot wedge beneath your seat.
Yeah, I might have overshot it, so I'm gonna bring it back just a little bit. Look at that peak right there. Those are now more aligned. Let's hear that.
You cannot wedge beneath your station. Why? Custom. You mean father? Won't.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good in terms of like alignment. It doesn't sound good. The board mics, you know, they're wearing the like the pop star mics. They got the belt pack. The mic cable comes up. It's on their cheek, and it's just very, very windy. They needed a little further back up their cheek. So right now, you know, these characters, we've got a lot of the board mix. I would bring the board mix down maybe like, I don't know, 9 dB. So that we have the presence of the board mix kind of supplementing the room. I really like the audience mic, the room mic. I want it to sound like the way the audience heard it.
Daily routine appearance. Did noise emerge from my...
Yeah, so I kind of like that. I could probably bring this down. This was 32-bit float audio, so it looks like my waveforms are really, really high. And they are, but this all should be recoverable A-okay. So even if I bring this down like 3 dB, you know. Yeah, sounds clean. I'll put headphones on. I'll work with that a little bit more. But that's how I get my shows, my musicals edits started. I bring in the footage of Final Cut, lay everything out in the timeline, stack the different cameras, export XML, send it to Pluralize, have Pluralize sync it all up, send its XML back to Final Cut, bring it in, and adjust my audio, especially because I have 2 audio sources and I want to be able to mix them a little bit more than I would in multicam. Otherwise, like I could do the multicam and like pull the audio out and get it underneath, but it's this is just what's worked fastest for me. This I can knock out an edit like this pretty quick, but I'm not going to edit this right now. I've got a couple other things on priority I got to edit, and then I'll return to this. But at least it'll all be synced up and ready to go for when I am ready to edit. That's it for this vlog. I hope you found it useful, helpful. If you did, smash that like button, hit subscribe because I'm doing a vlog every day of 2021. It's been a crazy exercise, and I hope you could come along for the ride. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.